In the second series today, we'll see you in a sec. All right, welcome, guys, to... Oh, he doesn't know what Game Heart Light is. I'll have to explain it to him between series. We'll explain to what you guys are in a second in case you're a little bit confused. But welcome back to the Muddy Peak series. This is the first series we've ever put together through this particular method. And I'm very excited to see this be going so well. Thank you all for tuning in, supporting the show matches. But we are in game number 1 in this brand new best of 3. Spawning in the lower right corner of the map, playing for Team Dignitas. It is the Red Terran, known as Select. What's up, son? Or just sup, son. Not what's up. What am I doing?
In the upper left, as the blue Zerg, it is going to be IVD Gaming, ZergZingZing.
Yeah, big shout out to Dine apparently for waking him up the last second. ZergZingZing clearly did not set an alarm for this match, but he is ready to play. Select, of course, you know, he played some warm-up matches prior to this while the other series was going on. ZergZingZing apparently literally got out of bed. Hopefully can bring his A game nonetheless. Now, of course, the first map, again, being on ZergZingZing, allows for this really nice sort of macro style. You're not going to see a lot of cheese on this one.
Select trying to be like the good guy, being like, well, it's a good map to, you know, warm up on, but internally he's thinking, oh, yeah.
Select's like, that's free money, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, alright, he's going to go for that quicker hatchery. For ZergZingZing, guys, whether it's not cross-spawn only, you can spawn anywhere on the map, so of course there's that kind of guys through the fog of war you can hide from. The Game Heart Light map mod does not affect the players in the slightest. They don't see these stronger team colors. They look very vibrant and more beautiful, I guess, to us. You can see things like the Reapers being made. But the coolest thing about the Game Heart Light mod, if you haven't seen it yet, please keep attention to like the lower rightish area of the screen when tech is about to finish, because it actually puts a countdown timer there and it looks really slick, really cool.
Ah, you got that version. That's cool.
Yeah, that's built into the map mod, not the UI, of course, but... yeah, of course, WCS qualifier is happening again today. I believe it's a regular qualifier, not the wildcard match. The wildcard match is coming up on the 13th, I think it is.
I am kind of glad I'm not a player right now because...
Oh, the confusion, the drama.
Yeah, seriously, all the confusion. I just, man, especially a player without a manager, you know, like most of the up-and-comers are.
Well... Moving across the map here with the Reaper, going to go for that scout. The SV, of course, checked the top right first, found nothing. ZergZingZing, to explain real quick why I said there's not going to be a lot of cheese on this map, guys, is like, you can't really go for the same sort of Hellion busts that you can on some maps. You're not going to catch a player without the double evolution chamber wall, because they only have to defend this one ramp, rather than a massive opening.
It's honestly very weird. I mean, you get so used to playing a certain style and like, you know, doing certain things, then you get two base, you want to put on those Evo chambers, and you're like, well, where do I put them? Like, not walling off? What is this?
Yeah. Gets first blood on the Zergling. Select what that Reaper does back out and get out alive. I mean, for him, he really wants to get in and scout that natural. And he's confirmed that this isn't some sort of weird one base situation. And there we go. He's going to see the saturation here and be a little bit happier about this. Man, Queens look so badass with the stronger team colors, by the way. Did you ever get your... I remember last time we did this, you couldn't see them. Did you get that sorted?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. They just look like they're wearing, like, jeans or something.
Yeah,
I don't know about more badass.
What I personally really like, Banelings are my favorite thing about the stronger team color mod, of course. They're like little fireflies with their butts glowing like crazy, but, you know, TVZ, we're probably going to see a good fair number of those.
Oh, we got a starport coming out for Select right here. This could still be for Banshees. I think it'd be cloakless though if it was. It could also just be for that Viking. I'm seeing that a lot. We got a very, that's an oddly placed bunker.
Yeah, it's odd, but you know what? It's going to be effective if he wants to take a third a little bit earlier, because of course the biggest danger is those Zergling run-bys. You're not really going to get the bunker down if there's already 20 lings in your base, but worth noting, this Reaper's still going to work on the other side of the map. Hasn't killed too much more, but Oh, snipes off the drone that was going to make the third, so actually a really effective snipe there as he
Yeah.
continues to dance around with these lings.
And it's going to be able to get them, as well as being helped out by those Hellions. Survive. He scouted the no gas, so he knows he doesn't have to worry about speed anytime soon.
Alright, well, nice, beautiful team logo in the middle of the map there, IBD. Third base under a little bit of fire, but not so much to really warrant the pulling of queens. If he does pull the queens, it leaves a giant opening on the ramp, so ZergZingZing not going to be too foolish about this. Now, of course, big props to Select. Recently did qualify into WCS. I think he took out Cats, I could be mistaken, to actually make it to the qualifier, but ZergZingZing, of course, not a bad player by any means. He's a player some of you guys probably haven't heard of or seen of much in the past. I had the pleasure of casting him for the Red Bull qualifiers over there and the odd tournament from here and then. I'm really excited to see if he manages to qualify for WCS, because this is, you know, nothing's being shown to really back up this claim yet, but ZergZingZing is a high caliber player, and I wouldn't be at all surprised to see if his focus on WCS today will pay off.
Things are getting a little worrisome for ZergZingZing. He's going to have to cancel that third hatch since there are 6 Hellions now, as well as a Banshee following it up.
That's really unfortunate, though, yeah.
Yeah, it has to do with the map, too. Like, the Queens, of course, as they leave, they open up that huge ramp, but then you can't exactly put over, like, Evo chambers over there to help raise. So, very unfortunate, but also very good build for Select, because he's also bringing in those Banshees, you know, looking to further delay that third.
I thought he wasn't going to get the creep tumor for a second. That scan just running out. But okay, ZergZingZing's had enough. You know, he's got his queens down his front lines. 4 queens going to have no problem guarding this. Roach is soon to come out as well, but... You know, even if with the Banshee follow-up, you know, Banshee takes on 1 queen, no problem, but not 4.
No, definitely not. And they are, you know, that creep was what he needed, honestly. Just having the queens actually be mobile over there means they can defend this as well as potentially get to that ramp fast enough if Select really wanted to go up there. Of course, with the roaches now, that's impossible. That would be a bad idea for Select. He's not going to do it. Had that Banshee done anything? Oh, it's at the natural... Did it die? No.
ZergZingZing's gonna kill his own drone.
Yeah, okay, that was weird.
Alright, well at the third base location is the Banshee just hovering around. Gonna pick off one of these roaches. Select. He's getting some pretty decent value for these attacks. It's not exactly game-ending damage, and he hasn't shut down the economy of ZergZingZing. He's still on 62 workers. He just doesn't have that third base up yet.
Yeah. Those upgrades are looking good. Selects is a little bit behind. Of course, he invested more gas into the opener than, you know, might be usual. It might be usual. Overlord's going to get taken down here. It's so what I needed to see, which is pretty much, you know, confirming, okay, it is going to be bio. I don't really think Mech's that popular on this map, but still, we always want to make sure.
Well, you got to remember, it's to the player too, right? Like, Select is not exactly Mr. Mech, although he's certainly capable of it.
Yeah, and also the medevac timing. So when is that medevac coming out, and will my, you know, what can I expect for, you know, the harass when it comes out?
And on the right side of the screen, guys, there's that metabolic boost countdown timer. I love that game where it does this. It's so cool. Yes, you can watch the production tab, but this is so much more obvious for the casual viewer. Or if you're casting and don't want to, you know, just want to lay back a little bit. Either way,
I don't
cool
get it. I don't get it.
Oh, that's weird.
I'm sad.
I hope Partoof does it. I'm not like talking up this big game about this like really cool feature that nobody can see, like when we did the stronger team colors last time.
Yeah, that was funny. Okay, well, it's just me then.
All right, well, Helen's gonna make their way into the main. They're not that strong. There's a spine crawler here, but the drone's being pulled in a very awkward manner. This is actually, if you use the drones to attack, it might have been a little bit more effective there than just simply sitting and waiting. But all right, lots of low health Hellions straight over 7 drones. Not exactly cost effective, but you're at that stage of the game where the Hellions aren't really paying off anymore. There's roaches out. They're not gonna get a lot done.
That's true. With the roaches, I mean, if you can keep them alive and they're facing regular, typical, like, ling bling only, then they can be really, really great. But the roaches mixed in, you're probably right. Not too worth it. Upgrades, again, are going to be so far ahead for ZergZingZing. It's really going to help out. Select is moving across the map with his medevacs. The Spire has finished, but the Nidas are not on the way, so he can use those, just pick up and go around the first, the main, the natural, whatever you want.
Oh, those banelings. They look so beautiful.
He's not going to have combat shields if ZergZingZing takes the engagement.
That's a good point. Marines, of course, already incredibly weak against banelings as is. Without that additional 10 health, they're going to pop like nothing. And, of course, ZergZingZing does have centrifugal hooks, so reacting is not going to be that big of an issue. But, you know, I love the static D coming down. You don't need a lot of it, and, you know, it's 3 spine crawlers and a spore crawler, sure. But, you know, this is enough to shut down a drop if they're coming out one at a time. Unfortunately, the banelings do go off on the Marauder. Ooh, ZergZingZing's gonna regret doing that.
I love that little trick though. That wasn't a whole lot for a lot of banelings. You know, a lot of gas when you really think of it. The Spire or the Mutalisk still are not on the field, and that's going to be worrisome as the medevacs can continue doing this as long as they want. In fact, they should probably head over to the 4th, or at least check that there is a 4th.
Oh man. Well, medevac's gonna boost on towards this. Yeah. Right on out of there, and they're not going to go down. And even though the Mutalisks are about to pop, one thing I want to point out, ZergZingZing, who's had his creep absolutely shut down for like 100% in this game, has it spreading out once again. And on a big map like Ultra Zim, it's not so much about the movement speed once you get on creep, but about that vision it provides.
Yeah. There are a lot of places you need to spread creep to, so it is one of the more difficult maps, just not only in the size, but how many pathways there are, how many bases.
Yeah. Well, the Marines have masked up for Select back at home. I mean, his army didn't do a lot here as far as attacking goes, but he's still got a pretty large standing one. Coming up on 2-2 in a moment's time, but of course ZergZingZing going to finish this up a little bit quicker. That is pretty much how this match always plays out. I'm a little concerned that his baneling count feels a little low to me. I mean, he's of course invested a lot of the gas in the Mutalisk, and it makes sense, but taking an army of this size, if Select just splits a little bit and gets some decent Widowmine hits off, these banelings are not going to get a lot done.
Select is moving out with a sizable force. He is getting that drilling claws. Unfortunately, by this time, you would love for your own 2-2 to be finished as well. It's really where you start finding those really great engagements, but without it, he's probably going to be a little lackluster. ZergZingZing could try and overrun if he considers that, oh, he just made a bunch more banelings, so yeah, he could definitely try.
Quinn's going to go down here on the front lines, and the creep's buying him some time here, which is kind of cool. I mean, Select's taking time to clear it up, of course, but decent baneling connects. There's still one he's got to worry about, though. But here comes a lot more of them crashing right into the army. Mutalisk's going to be able to clean up these medevacs too quite nicely, and Select does spread enough that he's able to keep most of these Marines alive, at least enough to shut the Mutalisk down, but still loses most of the medevacs in the end, and that's what's really going to cost him there. It's not so much the Marine loss as it is that medevac count.
Took down a few mutas at his very last dying breath, but that didn't go well at all for Select, I'd say. I mean, he tried to maybe not the perfect engagement, but...
Sorry to interrupt, and didn't want to. He did try and drop while that was going on too, but the static D of ZergZingZing proved to be a little too good. Yeah. Again, it's investing 500 resources plus 5 drones into these spine crawlers, but if it guarantees you don't lose that whole mineral line while something like the middle of the map is going on, absolutely worthwhile.
You should really start looking towards that 4th. I mean, obviously he's not going to get anywhere with this drop with that many spine crawlers, but the 4th is pretty much, I mean, I wouldn't say it's wide open, but it's always easier to, drop somewhere else and then attack into the spine crawlers as opposed to dropping on the spine crawlers, and that's definitely possible with the 4th.
And this creep spread is looking really good. It's buying ZergZingZing quite a bit of map control here as he moves slowly forward. It's kind of like it's weird to consider. It's almost like a siege tank line. You just kind of leapfrog it forward bit by bit with your army. You don't want to get too far ahead of it. You want to stick around it. But Select moving up towards the north. Again, with a big map like this, 2 giant advantages and disadvantages are gained. One is the fact that it's hard to cover all sides. I mean, reality is, with such a big map, there's so much space to come in from multiple angles. The downside is, though, for someone like Select, with the amount of creep spread like this, he's not really going to get anywhere undetected if this gets out of hand.
Meters are now coming in from the left side. A sensor tower, a rather bold sensor tower, I would say. It
catches the mutas, though. This brings
does.
Slick back immediately instead of being completely out of position, so worthwhile for sure. What do I see to burrow? But not going to burrow in time.
He didn't really need to pull back for that. He did have enough reinforcements that can chase those Mutalisk around his base all day long. Ultra Zim's kind of notorious for having a lot of space when he just can run through, but you gotta be so careful about running through a base of a Terran. Could be a Thor about to pop out or a bunch of Marines off to the right side. You don't know.
Well, engagement trying to be forced here in the northern part of the map. Leapfrogging forward with the Widowmines. I love the spread of the Widowmines, by the way. Just the worst thing you could do as a Terran player is clump. Whether it's Widowmines, Marines, doesn't matter. And with this spread, he should be able to run back over it. Of course, the Widowmines, they're mostly there to pick off the Banelings, sure, if they can get those hits off. But clearing out the Lings makes it a little bit easier to focus fire those Banelings. And Marauders on the front lines have been soaking so many of these hits. But, there's a very dangerous thing that's happened behind this. Hive completed. Ultra's Cavern is on the way. And what is a primarily Marine army will not stand to 2-2 Ultras, much less 3-3 Ultras.
Nope. Attack coming in here from ZingZing, and it is going to go pretty well. A few more Banelings left over actually target the Widowmines. There they go. They find their mark in the Marines with so many behind them. Yeah, Select definitely has to get out right there. He has a lot of reinforcements, though. They were chasing the Mutalisk back and whatnot, but you're right. That is very, very scary. Select does scout it with this drop in the main, however.
Yep. Well,
Now he
Select's 33
knows.
is going to finish up in a moment's time here, and of course, with Thor's being invested into be against the Mutalisks, they're actually not too bad against the Ultralisks either, as Thors do pack a punch, and of course, everyone loves watching Banelings get soaked up by a Thor if you're a Terran player.
Yeah. They soak up quite a number of banelings. The fourth is surprisingly not a planetary. I was kind of expecting it to be like from his main or something, but no, just using it as an orbital is a little bold, but ZingZing really hasn't been too aggressive. It's always been defending, and maybe I'll attack somewhere with my Mutalisk.
Yeah. There is worth noting here, just to explain, I saw someone in chat bring this up. Well, first off, another drop goes down, and these spine crawlers are just so difficult and annoying to deal with. It's buying ZergZingZing so much time versus Select, because Select can't just run through this base rampant. But upgrades, as you can see right now, guys, are on the right side of the screen, not the left side, if that's where you've been looking for them. Banelings do get used up a little bit needlessly on these Marines. Now, it's really important to keep your eye on the resources lost at this point, guys. ZergZingZing is taking these fights decisively, but he's always coming up behind in the resources lost. A big part of this is because, of course, you can't use those Banelings for round 2. Only available for round 1, and these drops are really forcing out, quite frankly, not the best Baneling control out of ZergZingZing.
I really like the position from Select. I think targeting or going towards that fourth is much better.
The Thor's focusing on the Mutalisks. One of my does go off, and these Mutalisks are forced to back away from this fight immediately. They're all way too low. One more Thor volley may finish off about 5 of them, if not careful. Oh, here comes some more Banelings. Select just going to back up behind the Thor, though. And now Magic Boxing on top of the Thor. A little bit better control here out of ZergZingZing. Not clumping this time. Will clean up this fight.
Yeah. A few more Wood Mines from the back. Oh, I thought they were going to surprise the Mutalisk, but no, Lings are on top of it. And that is cleaned up, but Select, I think, took a rather favorable engagement right there. And he's still on 4 base compared to ZingZing's 4. So it seems like ZergZingZing's plan has been, I'll stay on 4 base. I'll get up to that hive. And then I'll roll him just with a 4 base economy, and that's why he's been so insistent about defending his bases with so many spine crawlers. But that just means Select doesn't have any pressure on his side of the map. He can do whatever he wants to.
Yeah, I'm really surprised we haven't seen more planetaries come out with some missile charts surrounding them. I mean, typically at this stage of the game, you're able to just build, even if it's not a planetary, like, how many times have you seen, like, one orbital surrounded by, like, 2 planetaries if you get, like, really paranoid, right? I mean, Select could take a lot of bases right now and start getting rid of those SCVs, rely more on mules, and get that much, much bigger army supply, but it's fine that he's not. It's just, that's an advantage you could try and press. Thor production has been continued behind this, and of course, that's a big Ling run by. The entire army of Select is actually in the wrong part of the map for this.
Yeah, I like this from ZingZing. It gets a free Thor. I mean, doesn't really do that much damage against the Lings. This group of units might be able to clean it up, but in the main, the production is being camped. Select is going to go towards that 4th, though. So many spine crawlers actually defending rather nicely.
Orbital goes down, and yeah, spine crawlers proven to be quite difficult and frustrating to deal with, but finally do go down, can start pushing into the base. But, back at home, one Thor transforms by mistake. It's got to be a misclick. There's no reason to transform the Thor versus Mutalisks, but the production's finally caught up with the defenses. He's got a bunker here to hide behind. The Mutalisks are kind of scary, but they can't take on Marine forces like this, and the Overseers may even get sniped off here too. 4th base for ZergZingZing will finally get cleaned up. All the drones have gone down on top of this as well, so not just a base loss, but a lot of worker loss on top of this.
Yeah, but they both really got, worker losses. Now 38 SCVs to 42 drones. They're actually worse off for ZergZingZing. Now, luckily, he was building a 5th while that happened, so he has a backup 4th, you could call it. But he doesn't really have that many drones to saturate it.
This 4 Marauder hit squad that Select's been dropping is going to get cleaned up, but it kind of reminds me of, like, tactics you use versus Protoss more than Zerg, where you're trying to snipe off buildings rather than take an army fight, but that's not going to work.
He never used his Ultros Cavern. He got it, but...
An interesting choice to invest in the Viper. Blinding Cloud obviously going to be the choice over Abducts, because there's no tanks to grab, right? So...
I feel like that was a misclick. Just 1, usually 3 is the magic number.
Yeah, because you get like a whole blanket of blinding clouds. But perhaps, purposely ignoring the Ultras for now, he has invested a lot into the Mutalisk weapons. And he's been able to retain that fair number. I mean, he's losing a lot of Banelings and Zerglings, but he's up to 28.
Oh!
Sits far on top, and I take all that back. Caster Curse, ladies and gentlemen, immediately loses about a 4th of his Mutalisks. In fact, oh my god, if you hit Shift L and look at the units lost so far this game, first off, cool, 200 Marines, whatever, 281 Lings, whatever, but 44 Mutalisks have been made and killed so far this game, on top of the ones that are already available on the map.
That is insane. And that's very unfortunate. ZingZing is kind of playing that style. Like, yeah, he got the Ultras Cavern, but he's still playing that style that's heavily upgraded layer units, which really relies on a very big flock of Mutalisk.
Another thing, too, is actually just simply because of the Ultros Cavern alone, it's forced out a lot more Thors, a lot more Marauders than I think Select would have wanted to otherwise make. I mean, his Marine count is still up there. It's not like it's dwindled or suffered because of it, but, this is the difference of like a 180 Marine army versus like an 80 Marine army.
Yeah. Looks like he's gonna target the 5th. What is that over there in the 4th? Oh, I guess what am I just out the 4th, noting that if it is alive, you can't be able to drop it later.
Gonna get a decent connect on these Marines. Nothing too crazy though.
Select is just down in supply. I don't know what's up with that, honestly. His economy isn't that bad.
This
He's
fight's not gonna go
bases.
Decent drop though. Should get a good engagement top of the Mutalisk. Blinding Cloud would be perfect for right here, but unfortunately the Viper's picked off immediately. And this choke is so good versus these Zerglings, but Select picks up, goes to the low ground, and the Mutalisks are just being shredded by these Marines. Trading Marines for Mutalisks any day of the week.
Kind of sucks about the Medivacs, but he took down.
Did you see that focus fire at the last second?
Yeah, a lot of Milas. In fact, he took down about 20 more, so that was well worth it. He's now down to just 14 Mutalisk. However, Select's still having a difficult time getting above, honestly, like 140 supply, but now ZingZing's also having similar difficulty.
Planetary Fortress has finally been established on one of these bases, so Select can play a little bit more carelessly, I suppose you could call it. I mean, look at the missile turrets. Look at this planetary. This base will not go down to a light run anytime soon. But, ZergZingZing's been kind of implementing the same tactics. A lot of spine crawlers and spore crawlers at every base have kept Select from easily dropping and picking off bases. So, man, it's just... it's surprising how defensive this game has been coming up here on the 30-minute mark.
I said that Select's economy wasn't that bad, but I didn't notice that not only is his natural and his main mined out, what you expect, but his 3rd is also completely mined out. He's literally on one base.
Yeah, he's trying to move, of course, over here to that 5th location. Again, 5 bases in each corner of the map, guys. And what's weird to consider is not a single swarm host nor siege tank has been made this game, and yet we're still here approaching the 30-minute mark. Yeah, well, one of mine's in position to try and intercept some Mutalisk. Thor might be lifted up here to the high ground. Gonna add a lot of damage, a lot of punch to this. Zerglings and Baneling's trying to swoop in from the side. Select. He can't really afford to lose any of this, sadly.
Loses a big chunk right there, whereas he could have probably picked up and done a lot more. Off to the 5th side. That's a new center. That's a new command center too. He invested into that. He still has a bunch more orbitals that he can, of course, lift off. It's kind of the benefit of being Terran. You
know what, though? We're talking about Select's economy being in the gutters, but so is ZergZingZing. This is one of his last mining bases. Of course, his 4th that has been remade recently up here in the north being under attack once again, but his main, his natural, and his 3rd are also all mined out, so neither player really able to max out at this stage.
Yeah, and now choosing to make a few Ultralisks, that's not going to be very beneficial. You really need a huge count of Ultralisks to really combat the high Marine numbers, but that's enough Marauders to deal with just one.
Mutalisk on top of the production now. Select is no means to really deal with this. Couple Marines going to stem forward, but low amounts of Marines versus this many Mutalisks. Yeah, they're going to pick off a couple of Marines, but still, or Mutalisks, but still, the Mutalisks should win in the end. Select going to bring most of his army back home to try and defend against this. Picking up the tech labs, getting the reactors. I mean, this is the sort of thing that really stifles a player who already can't afford to make units.
Yeah, he also took it on another command center at the natural, so that's a very good use of those Mutalisk. It's got to suck for Select. I mean, he's taken down so many Mutalisk over the course of this game, yet somehow ZingZing always has a huge number that cannot be dealt with reinforcements alone.
Yeah. Oh, man. Select he took out that base. So ZergZingZing on one base economy. His Ultra is going to be a little bit stronger in this scenario, I feel, because the Marauder count's not insane, and the Marines are, of course, being the focal point because of most of these Mutalisks. Taking an engagement is going to be incredibly difficult.
Select's now on 2 mining bases, so he is looking actually really, really good for the rest of this game. ZingZing down to just 1, has got to protect that with his life, I suppose, and actually it's almost mined out.
Well, ZergZingZing, if he wanted a warm-up to practice for WCS today, I'll tell you what, Zombie Grub, this is what he's going to get. But, in before he gets all Protoss in the bracket later.
Yeah. Oh, well. Oh, Mutalisk's going to swing into the left again. They're going to find the planetary. There's only 3 missile turrets, but not even protecting the entirety of the planetary, so...
This is probably the greatest thing ZergZingZing's been doing all game, though. I mean, he's not been able to take really favorable engagements at any point, but he's been able to use the mobility of the Mutalisk, constantly drive Select back. Select's never pulled back with the full force of his army, but, he's always pulling back about half of it, a quarter of it. This base, of course, really important. He keeps this planetary alive. He needs this economy.
Yeah, but the next planetary could go down. Oh, the Widow Mines!
Oh, the
Widow Mines!
Sees them at the last second. ZergZing does swoop back. Of course, Yeah, there's one more, but that's not enough to kill these. You do need like 3 or 4 Woodwinds to get the full damage
Yeah.
off, but gets a hit off nonetheless, and the turret's still standing. Oh, this is such a scary situation for Select. His economy is the most precious thing to him right now. It's the one thing he has going over ZergZingZing finally.
And now we're back down to 13 Mutilos, so not nearly as scary as it was before.
He's
The
been
Marine count here is going to be able to deal with it.
He's been slowly getting Ultralisk banked up, though, behind this. I mean, the Ultralisk Cabin has gotten unused for so long. This might be something that catches Select a little bit off guard.
Could be. I feel like just with 4, though, a good stutter step as well as, a minimal amount of Marauders should be okay.
Yeah. All right, well, new hatchery going to come down. ZergZingZing not unburrowing the Spine Crawlers. Probably going to lose one here to the blood loss, I guess. Yeah, it does go down. But over here on the northern part of the map, Select looking to assault this base once more. He knows how important the economy is to his opponent, and this is the only base he has mining. What I'm truly shocked about this game, neither player at this point has scouted the lower left corner of the map, which is weird to consider, like 40 minutes into a game. But a ninja base could change the world at this point.
Yeah, that's a really good point. The Ultras have been revealed, by the way, so if Select wants to add more Marauders, he can.
That Ultras got wrecked. This base,
the hatchery's gonna go down.
Yeah, this base not looking too much better. Zergans are going to try and bait out this Widowmine hits so the Banelings can try to connect, but there's not a lot of Banelings in the first place. A couple Ultras and Banelings coming from behind. The Ultras is leading the charge, and here come the Banelings sandwiching in Select's army. Can he pick up, or will he take the fight? Looks like he chooses to pick up. Can he get that last Thor? Oh, man down. It goes. But of course, Select, look at that bank he's got zombie up. He wasn't producing because he's kind of probably not used to producing. He's had no economy for the last 10 minutes, but he's able to remax where ZergZingZing simply will not even remax, but remake where ZergZingZing cannot afford to.
Yeah. Also remade 2 more command centers, so he's been rolling in the money for quite some time, and Select could very well just bleed out ZingZing as he's trying to get his. He has a base up again, I suppose, and this one's actually healthier than the last one, but his drone count's only at 33, I guess perfect to saturate 1.5 bases.
And a lot of SUs picked off here, but Thorin loaded just in the nick of time. Still nothing in the main really to defend against these Mutilisks. Thor's going to pop out in a second, actually. That might just do the trick. There's not a lot of them. I mean, this is the big thing. Like, the Mutalisk count has dwindled so hardcore over the course of this game. ZergZingZing, who has lost 80 Mutalisks, guys. Consider for a moment, that's 80 Mutalisks. That's 100 gas per. This is so many Mutalisks. When do you ever see this many Mutalisks remade and constantly made again and again and again in a game?
Usually when they have a much better economy than ZergZingZing has.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure. I still can't get over the fact that nobody's been to the lower left at this point, though. I mean, like, it's not even that it's not scouted recently. It's never been scouted, period, by either player. That's just so weird for me to consider.
Hopefully one of them will notice and take that expansion. Probably going to be Select as he has those command centers to place down. This one, oh, it's defended. Never mind. Now Select to that point where he has a big enough army supply that he can split up and attack. And the Mias they're not scary anymore.
Well, I think this game's kind of losing some of its momentum, but that's okay because ZergZingZing is just trying to get his economy back up.
Oh, well, what can ZingZing do except try and get an economy again and, like, hold out until he's maxed? Because, taking an engagement at any other point besides that is just not going to work out for him.
This is just, this is one of those games you're going to remember. Like, again, no mech involved, no tanks, no swarm hosts. Both players playing Marine, Stim, Bio, and Banelings and Mutalisks, and we're still somehow arriving at this point. This is the beauty of Ultra Zim, and a lot of people are like, Rifkin, why did you make this the starting map? Because I wanted games like this. One thing I'm a little shocked to see Select at this point, too. Like, this repair is great, but I'm a little shocked he didn't invest in, like, building armor at some point. With the amount of Mutalisk run buys and the amount of turrets he's had to rebuild, I think that would have been an investment that would have paid off at this point. But
yeah.
Looks like he will hold with this last turret. Last couple Mutalisks going to go down, and this is kind of the hope of ZergZingZing. I don't know if he's just given up or he's just like, I really want that turret, but
2 Mutalisks are going to survive, and I don't even know. It's going to take forever to single that planetary.
Well, last mining base here of ZergZingZing under assault. He literally has no income right now, guys. Not even long distance mining. This is it. This looks like we may finally have Select start winning this game. But there's still a big army he's got to go through. There's so many Ultras, so many Banelings, and ZergZingZing literally cannot afford to make another hatchery. So, this is it. It's do or die time. With 65 army supply, though, I think it's die time.
Yeah, I think it's die time, too. I mean, just look at this army, and it's odd to think how many
Concussive shells, what?
Yeah,
Concussive shells is finishing at 41 minutes in the game.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised they didn't start that sooner, but I guess better late than never. These Thors are going to help out mess
Oh, these
up
Thors.
the pathing of the Ultralisk.
Look at the Banelings collide into the Thors, though they can't connect
Oh,
with the
God.
Marines in the slightest. Thors almost like buildings creating their own Sim City. Good games finally called in game one. Game one, guys, in this best of three will go to Select.